What it do? Snacker, Snackettes, and Snack X's. Your boy Gage here in the building with the homie Jokes.
Yo, yo!
Two yos, two healthy yos, two very healthy yos for everybody. You all are now tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week. We talk about things that are happening in pop culture, and today we're going to talk about GameStop and Pokemon. We might even talk about Pokemon Go a little bit. We'll maybe we'll get there. We're going to talk about what is happening in the attempt to save Dave and Buster's. Yeah. We are going to talk about the unfortunate passing of one Sam Neill. And we are going to discuss who I think are Spider-Man's top 5 villains. There might be some cheating.
Oh.
And I don't often break protocol.
About to pull us in.
It's undecided. But before we get into any of that, Jokes has a job to do.
Yes, sir.
So he will get the link to our website up in the chat. So that anybody who's there can go to the website, click on there, find out what's going on, see what's up with us. We do have many events coming in August and an event right at the tail end of July. So it's a good way to keep up with that. Make sure you're following us across Instagram if you're watching here on YouTube or on Twitch or on Facebook. Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts are kind of the bread and butter these days. A lot of the interviews and content that we do, snack bites and so forth, are showing up in those places. And that seems to be working and doing really well for us. We're going to continue to do that. So please follow us on those platforms if you're not already doing so. If you are, look for those things because now the algorithm's a little tricky. It doesn't seem to populate to the people who follow you. It populates people who don't. And so we want to try to make sure that you all get a chance to see it. One of the best ways to do that is to check us out on Patreon. So if you've got the funds to do so and you can hook us up a little bit month to month to help us kind of keep doing what we're doing here, we would greatly appreciate it. It's really one of the best ways you can support us other than liking and subscribing and sharing and commenting. Commenting really does help. Tells the algorithm people are interacting with this. And so, let's show it to more people. On that note, Jokes, 619 Patreon Hall of Fame. It's time.
Yes, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, and Kerbert Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Indeed, we do. Jokes, how you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. How about yourself, man?
Listen, let me tell you something. I see that you're wearing an Extra Life shirt, and that excites me because Extra Life is not very far away.
It's not that far off.
It's going really fast. We always have a great time during Extra Life, and that makes me excited. Have an opportunity to do something for the kiddos. So I'm glad you're wearing it. It sounds like you're doing all right. And since you're okay, I feel like we can talk about last week's news. Meaning, it's time for hashtag WHHW, which is what it happened was, which is last week's news. It's over there somewhere. We're going to pull it back for you. Jokes, hook me up.
Number one.
Jokes. I don't know if the age gap between you and I means that you really got to grow up in arcades. Did you go to arcade? Were arcades a thing for you?
Very briefly. I would say an arcade maybe a couple times a month.
A couple times a month? I mean, that's
nothing.
But you went to arcades, arcade games and cabinets and so forth.
My dad enjoyed going to arcades, so obviously, he could find an excuse to be able to take me. So it was but I would say I probably wasn't as much as like how you would go in, if you wanted like that high score on the game. I don't think I quite got to that point just yet. It was just
Sure.
going in really and having fun in there for it. But I definitely went, but probably not as frequently as what you probably
Nah, I mean, I lived in them joints if I could.
did.
You know, like it. You know what I mean? Like it was as a
Greetings,
as a young
greetings.
chap. Hey, Nana. But like recently,
What up, Z?
what's up, Zay? For a lot of people, the closest thing to an arcade they really ever have had has been Dave and Buster's.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, I don't know. We could probably chalk it up to a bunch of different things, but for whatever reason, like the business model that is Dave and Buster's is like not working super well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean these days. And again, it could be for any number of reasons. It feels to me like Dave and Buster's in some ways is very similar to almost like movies. Like you can play games at home, you can drink it. So like if the food's not great, you know what I mean? If they're not, maybe like people seem to go there for like to watch the game.
Mm-hmm.
Some Dave and Buster's happen to have like a bowling alley or something like that. Like it seems like they've had to kind of expand beyond the video game aspect of it. The reality of it is that like models of places like Dave and Buster's were more or less like, oh, Chuck E. Cheese, but for adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's put something together that they can do. And Dave and Buster's they've been closing. It hasn't been doing super well. And so recently, they have come up with a new strategy. And I want to kind of read from what it is that is happening. This is from an article on Slate. I looked into this, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago because I kind of saw some things going around about it. And I don't want to get too far into it, but more or less, what is happening now. So I'll just read an excerpt. So, quote, the long-running chain, known mostly for its gargantuan arcade, bar fare, and ample screens for showing sports, has begun to let some of its locations book ad hoc late-night events with local promoters and artists. For these raves, dance parties set to the thrumming electronic music, often with a baccalaureate edge, organizers, known sometimes in rave parlance as party crews and collectives, have built stages, brought in sound systems, and switched the channels from ESPN to psychedelic images to welcome revelers. So after sold-out ventures at the Hollywoodland and Highland locations back in 2023, housing the same indoor-outdoor mall where the Oscars happen every year, the chain has gradually rolled out raves in markets outside of California, in the suburb areas, Auburn, Washington, Texas, different college towns. On the East Coast, Brooklyn, Miami, places like that. So what is happening now is this seems to be working. Jokes. They have been the tickets for the rave are anywhere from $20 to $40.
Okay.
And they are selling out to the tune of like 1,000 people. Yeah. Like, and they're selling out like super fast.
Oh.
Like super fast. Like they announce them and it's going crazy. If you
Interesting.
If you search ravenbusters.com,
Hold on, we do it.
it takes you to an Eventbrite page where they're doing different launch parties and stuff like that, and you can get tickets to go to these kind of one-off raves that are set kind of by other, usually in the area, local DJs or event promoters or so forth. Not unlike in our area, like a Transcendent Event, right? They do a lot of music stuff. We do a lot of comic stuff with them. They're doing raves, and people are going to them. And I don't know if this is a thing that technically is like revitalizing Dave and Buster's for real. Like in it, because I don't. I mean, look, I don't know if like I don't. it doesn't seem to me that like people are in there, the DJ's playing, people are literally having a rave, and like other people are like off on the side, like swiping their card and playing games. Like I don't think that's what's happening. I
Sounds like
do
a
think that
ghost kitchen. It's like, hey,
yeah,
we got this rave here that's in a Dave and Buster's, but it's not really Dave and Buster's at
but
this
it's
point.
not. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's an interesting thing to me to think about just the kinds of business models that worked so well for so long.
Shrek rave at the
Saying it
Dave and
says
Buster's.
Shrek rave at the Dave and Buster's.
Hey,
Like
listen, that joint will sell out. I
it
think
would.
that.
That's what I'm but I like if you think about it, right? Like the amount of space they have, they got a
Mhm.
bar, you know what I mean? They're literally coming in and building a stage and setting up sound systems. You know what I mean? Like I mean I can see it. I certainly
Yeah.
get it. Again, I don't know what that does for like it look, if it's enough that they can make decent money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, indoor, keep people safe. Um Maybe there's enough money in it to offset what they're maybe not getting in sales that are
The
coming from
normal
their
thing.
standard business so that they can keep doing their standard business. I would like to see, you know, we've seen an uptick in like barcades and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that in the area. Here we have a couple of game ons. I think there's 3 in the area now. Annapolis, Columbia, and Baltimore. Um, so like barcades have become a thing, but they're generally relatively small with a few cabinets, cool atmosphere, you know, whatever. But they're not like the size of a Dave and Buster, and they're generally, honestly, I don't feel like when I was young and small when I was going to arcades, but I don't feel like they're the size of arcades. Like I can remember going to arcades and it just being like rows and rows of
It
cabinets.
happens.
And there just being so much. Like there is something very, very special and specific about the sound of an arcade. Like what it sounds like when just whether people
Combination
are
of the
playing or
games
not.
that are going on, the coins and things
Yeah.
dropping from like the machines you're trying to put in. Like, yeah.
There's something real special about that. And like arcades being attached to movie theaters. Like when I worked
Mm-hmm.
in a movie theater, there was an arcade that was in there. Um, you know, so because a place like Dave and Buster's is really one of the last places that is that big and really kind of has that feeling, I would like to see them be able to do something that keeps them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, running. I'm not super interested in going to a rave,
Agreed. Maybe you
but
pull the
if
right
they
one.
do,
The right one.
but there are some like if you think about some of the stuff that like happens around here, like what Plus Ultra, like what some of the
Yeah.
after parties are really like when we have conventions around here, like they could wholeheartedly pull some of that off on
Mm-hmm.
a regular basis that has nothing to do with the convention. I feel like at a place like a Dave and Buster's. So I would hope that it does something. At the same time, if like you have arcade machines that aren't turning a profit at all,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? If you're not like I don't know that this saves Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, it
You know
sounds
what I
like it.
mean?
I don't want to say it's a crutch, but it's definitely when you exploring a different type of option for you to get that income, just like you were saying. I feel like it's always where like obviously if you're not losing anything to venture into something like this, then I think it would be a cool type of
Yeah.
thing to jump into and give it. And like you said, like it started. Obviously, I'm guessing like the first couple obviously went through without a hitch. If you can
Yeah.
start moving and putting them in other locations, like obviously I feel like not sure about how other places are. Like for us, we have 3 Dave and Buster's that are relatively well. Let me say we have 2 with a third one on its way that are all relatively close to get to. I would hope you don't overdo it by trying to have the events end up cannibalizing themselves at the different venues. But obviously,
Mm,
like
I
say
mean,
for
here's the
us,
thing.
yeah,
The 2 Dave and Buster's that are near us are 2 very different Dave and Buster's.
very much so.
They're very different Dave and Buster's. They're very different in size and
Mhm.
scope. The scale of like what's in there is they're just very different. And also, like the larger Dave and Buster's is there are a lot of like ticket games that you can use to go to the little room and get your little prizes and stuff. But I feel like there are a lot of arcade games in that space, even though they also have pool tables. Because again, that Dave and Buster's has pool tables as well as bowling with an additional bar. They have, you know, the separate rooms for the parties, all that. The other one that's closer to us is much smaller, and doesn't have anywhere near that kind of room. They don't even really have an area like the larger one for like just coming in to sit down and view sports like that. It's a little bit more like a Buffalo Wild Wings on one side of that Dave and Buster. So they're very different. So if the third one is maybe like a combination of the two,
I feel like it's going to be
or
in
something like
between.
that,
Yeah.
you know, maybe it does okay. But it still doesn't quite, you know, look, again, opening another one is already a little tricky when business hasn't been super great for them. But again, it seems like this is helping to turn the tide. So,
Hey,
you
it was
know,
working.
y'all go check out Raven Busters, man.
Raven Busters.
Raven Busters. Hook me up, Jokes.
Number two.
In a slightly strange turn of events, story number 2 is really more for Jokes to talk to you. This is really more for you, Jokes. Because we had a conversation the other day, and I don't know if I've quite seen you so passionate about a thing in a while. So let's talk about what's going on with Pokemon and GameStop and all of the above. Give me the rundown.
I got you. So, obviously, I'm sure most of you are not strangers to the Pokemon trading card game. It's been around since obviously the 90s. And now we're seeing like this, you know, major, I don't want to even say resurgence, but more people that are, you know, coming back to the hobby. It's becoming more of an investment piece for a lot of people. And there's a lot of people that are investing in it to make it a business to sell cards and make a profit on them. And never mad at that because, you know, they call it's a market for Pokemon cards where obviously older stuff shows up. It's going to cost a penny to get. It is what it is. But we're seeing new sets that are coming out. And literally the cost of these new sets at certain places have just become astronomical. Almost to the point where you can't even get them. Now, your big box retailers, let's like, you know, your Targets, your Best Buys, your Walmarts, places like that, you go in, if you can get your hands on Pokemon cards, they're all at their normal retail cost that you can go in. So like, just to kind of give you just an idea, there's a package called an Elite Trainer box. It retails for $60. Kind of the standard when you want to go into a store, pick up something. It's normally like the one thing that everybody gets. GameStop for a very long time had been selling their Pokemon cards at retail cost, just like any other retailer. Line out the door. If you weren't lined up like 2 hours before they open, you're probably not going to get anything. Over the last, I would say, 8 months to a year probably, GameStop has kind of bridged into this area between retail cost and like market cost on products. So at one point, let's just say like that Elite Trainer box that I was talking about, GameStop may be selling it for $70 to $80 versus the normal $60 price tag. So not a big jump. And I would say for those trying to get their hands on it, probably more than happy to go ahead, pay that little bit of extra because they can walk into a retail store and actually get it. Now, with the last few releases, GameStop has put their prices even above what market pricing on Pokemon cards even have been. So that Elite Trainer box that I was talking about, we're at the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, so there's a new special set that actually comes out in September. It's going to be super hard to get. Everyone's going to go after it. Just nostalgia, the whole piece on there. Just to give you an idea, like that Elite Trainer box, when GameStop first announced they were going to sell it, they actually listed it at the current retail price of $60. Cool. I hadn't expected that.
MSRP.
Within, I kid you not, 48 hours, they immediately turned and jacked that price up, and it went up to about $129.
So double.
So pretty much double the cost on it. It was a little shaky. I was like, okay, whatever. GameStop is going to do this. They've been doing it for the last few releases. No surprise there. Within like another 24 hours of them raising that price, it then went up to $200. Absolutely insane. This is literally like over the weekend. Now, just wanted to show you before this, and then we can show like why I was getting so passionate about how things were. So I'm just gonna throw up this image. So this is going to be the biggest thing from the 30th anniversary that's coming out. It's called the Ultra Premium Collection. It retails for $179 because you get 30 packs within this set and a couple of other little cool collectibles that come with it. The $179 price is, and for what it's getting, is what they normally would release it for. When GameStop first dropped this, they actually showed it at being like $199, so $20 above what it was supposed to be. Within the 48 hours that the Elite Trainer box went up, this thing went up to $599.
Right, $600.
Absolute craziness.
It's corruption
on a major level. Like, we know GameStop has been having issues and all that, and I know it looks like they're trying to use Pokemon probably to keep themselves afloat when it comes time for it. But since they've done that, I would say within the last 48 hours now, GameStop has
the most recent 48 hours. Like in the last 2 days,
they've actually have dropped the prices on a lot of the 30th anniversary product. Now, granted, that box is still $399, so essentially double the cost of what it would be. What apparently has happened, and I've been reading different sources, Pokemon Center, like a couple, not another official from Pokemon just yet, but apparently a lot of the higher ups at GameStop apparently had a major meeting, which a lot of people are believing it was with Nintendo / Pokemon themselves. That was essentially like, hold the script here. We know you guys get it, and you can you can set your prices, you can do whatever. You guys have literally gone into scalper territory at this point, and essentially say Pokemon or GameStop, you guys are either going to need to bring these prices down, or we're going to essentially just pull your allocation of what it is that you're getting for these Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Because it has gotten because they know people regardless. If you can't go to Target, Best Buy, or you show up late, everything is sold out. They know people are going to come right to GameStop and just start buying whatever it is that they have on the shelf because it's just readily available. Which I'm all about making a dollar, but at this point, you really are taking advantage of people when it comes time for actual collectors. I know you want to try to keep out scalpers by pushing some of these prices up and putting them closer to like market values and costs on here for it, but GameStop essentially has become the scalper themselves when it comes time for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a couple of things that I think when I look at this, just in terms of what GameStop is as a business, like they are essentially the world's largest chain of pawn shops. Like within the United States, GameStop they're considered a pawn shop, which is like because they buy, sell, trade. And it's why when you go into a GameStop, like you're required to like show your license, and they got to get a copy of it and all that kind of stuff when you do a trade in. And so it's interesting because you're watching as a pawn shop, you kind of do set your own prices, and it's not. I'm gonna be real with you. It's not real different from what their business model had been when they were really successful. You come in to trade in a game that you bought for $50. They give you 17 for it, and then they sell it for 45, right? Like, so somebody comes in and they buy it, they save themselves $5. They buy it used or trade it in. what I think is happening to GameStop right now is them getting a taste of their own medicine. So for a long time, the issue for GameStop within the video game industry was that developers and publishers did not like GameStop, and they didn't like that GameStop took trade-ins. They didn't like that there was a secondhand market, that a company had a business model based on their work, their art, their whatever, and they didn't get a piece of it when it got resold. That they were, undervaluing what a game or whatever was worth when they bought it from you, and then pushing it back up when they sell it to you. And they didn't see any of that. Right now, part of what's happening to them is the same thing that happens to everybody else, which is scalpers are coming in, buying up their inventory, and then turning around and reselling their inventory for double or triple the price, right? And so while GameStop does make money on it, because clearly they're not buying them from Nintendo at the MSRP, and Pokemon Company at the MSRP, they're buying them for lower than that, probably somewhere in the 10 to 20% range. So they're turning a profit if they sell it to you at MSRP. But clearly they know that there's a market for it. You gotta, it's supply and demand, right? And they know they can sell it and people will buy it. But they also
100%.
know that, either you're cutting out the regular buyer, which is what this is intended for, and you're only selling to scalpers or people who can afford to do it, or you're gonna make it so you can't sell them at all, right? Like it's just, it is what it is. And what happens, unfortunately, when they do something like that, if at retail the sell price that's almost 350% markup to go to $600. You know what I mean? Like if the retail for it is $600, then when a scalper buys it for $600, they can sell it for $800. They can sell it for $1,000 because now they're gone. You can't get them, and this is what we had to pay for it. You know what I mean? And so you actually make the scalping market worse. You make it, you know what I mean? Like you make it harder. So, it's kind of a catch-22, and it's really, really. And the truth of the matter is, Pokemon is the thing that is more in the news and so forth because it's pop culture. It's anime. You know what I mean? It's anime to people. It's a cartoon or whatever. The market is almost the same way for like baseball cards and football cards and whatever. There's a lot of that same kind of stuff happening, but none of it is as hot because unlike, like, you don't have 30th anniversary cards, quote unquote, to do when you get baseball cards, you know what I mean, or whatever, because people kind of come and go. So it's again, it's a different market. It's interesting to see. I mean, I could see Nintendo and Pokemon giving the CEO of GameStop a call and being like, "Hey, we just won't give you anymore.
Yeah.
Like we won't sell them to you. You know what I mean? And then you won't have them. So you've gotta come back on this." So it's interesting. We'll see if it works.
I have a feeling, like, I do know already when they dropped. So after the Elite Trainer box price went up and came back down, they have actually have completely sold out of their allocation of the Elite Trainer boxes. So already essentially almost double the cost. They've already
gone.
Are gone. So I don't blame, honestly, I don't blame people because it's going to come out on like a Friday. So whether it's, you taking the day off of work to be able to sit at like a Target, like, listen, I already have a plan how these things work. If you're going to sit at like a Target, you go in there, you get what you can, then you leave out of Target, you head to like a Best Buy that opens a little bit later, you sit there and try to get stuff. Like, it's literally the plan that you got to do to be able to try to get it at retail cost. But 30th anniversary is going to have some crazy things involved with it, so eventually some of those cards that are in this set probably are going to even cost more than what the actual box is itself. And that's part of another reason why they know that they can get away with it, because whatever the chase stuff may be when the set comes out, people are going to go nuts to try to get it.
George, you want me to tell you what the problem is?
Go for it.
I can tell you what the problem is. The problem is COVID. COVID is the problem. It doesn't seem like it, but I'm telling you, COVID is still ruining everything in pop culture. What I want you to understand is that the reason why things are like this is because way too many people still work from home.
Mm.
Way too many people. Way too many people start out working from home. What that does is it provides the opportunity for people who are technically at work to go stand in line to buy this stuff up before you can get your hands on it. So like there used to be a time when like you would deal with something like this and trying to figure out how you're going to get it and whatever, and it would be like you would say to yourself, do these people not have jobs? That's like that would be the mindset. That's not the case. These people in fact do have jobs. And not only do they have them, they make really good money, enough money to go buy Pokemon cards at double the price, and they're on the clock when they're doing it. They're getting paid while they're shopping. For like that is what the problem is, Joe. Like that's
valid.
There's no two ways about it. There are so many more people who just can be out and about to go shop.
That's very. Hey, listen.
To go pick
That's
stuff up.
very. I have to pick. Like for me, like I got to pick my poison. It's like if I'm fortunate enough, like on a day, like when it comes out, I open. I can at least be at Target when they open because that's hours before I got to be into work. But then I can't hop to other stores and try to get it, so I have to, I try to catch them online. But the online drops are random, so you just gotta hope that when it drops, like you get the alert, so you can try to hop in there and buy it. But
yeah, bro. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like suffering in these spaces because people can go and get their hands on this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that scalpers aren't getting their hands on stuff and like clearly, buying it all up beforehand and stuff like that. I've seen it like Target's got signs up now. They'll only sell you a reasonable amount of stuff and you can't all that.
Most times it's two per person or two per item of each SKU. But on like certain ones that come out, they will only allow one. But I gotta give kudos to a lot of, like local card stores and stuff that are able to get allocation of stuff at retail cost and they're able to sell them. And like they literally will be like, hey, we may only limit it to like one or two per person. Or it may be like, hey, if you're cool, we're going to open it here. If you sit here and open it, we're going to give it to you at the retail cost. If you leave it sealed, we're going to end up charging you like an extra like $50 or $60 or something like that.
Right.
So like there's places out there that are trying to combat and do things for the community to keep these things in the hands of people that really want to collect them and not just take them out here and try to flip them and make a profit. Like, I'm not mad at someone that, that's trying to have this as a business and do all that. But
I get it. I still don't know that that's technically fair or legal. Like just to be like, the price of the product is $10 if you open it right here, right now in the store. It's $20 if you leave it sealed and take it with you, right? So like, just think about that. I understand like trying to keep the scalpers and trying to figure out a way or whatever. Like I still don't know that. Like I'd be like, I wish you would, because like think about it for you, who you need to shoot content. Right, so you need to buy them and bring them home and rip them on camera, so you can shoot the content. You need to open them, so you would have to pay the additional cost to be able to take them home so that you could open them on camera.
Hey, listen,
if you wanted to
I will
it in the store, or
I will open them in the store. Yeah, I was gonna say I will open it in the store.
But here's the thing: a lot of stores have like issues with people shooting content in their store and won't allow that kind of stuff either. So like it's a it's a very tricky landscape right now with all of this kind of stuff. And like Pokemon is like One Piece levels of giant. Like it's I'd say it's bigger than One Piece actually. Like after the Top Square takeover they had like last week or whatever for Pokemon Go. It's insane.
Hey, listen, you said One Piece, And crazy enough, One Piece is becoming. It's not to the level yet of what Pokemon has gotten, but with their trading card game, they've been doing some, some giveaways and stuff. Like One Piece has been partnering with a lot of MLB teams and has been
Yeah.
giving
Oh
away,
yeah.
specific cards, tied to the teams. And like scalpers are literally out there giving people like, hey, you got your card? Here's $100. Let me get that card up off you. And literally are just taking them Jones and selling them online for like $400 and $500.
Yeah.
Like,
I have
and
a
yeah.
One Piece Eagles shirt. I do. I do. This is, it's real out here. Heather said, "Look, don't mess up work from home with this theory. Someone was hoping it comes back." Heather, I'm just telling you that it's supply and demand. There's not enough of y'all out there driving, so gas is going to continue to be more expensive, even though there are many other things that are making that happen. That's just part of it. Like, here's the thing, Heather. You could have just said, "Hey, Jokes, if you need me to go pick something up, I work from home. I got you, bro." Like, that's all you had to really say. Like we not, you know what I mean? Like, they bring it back. Just be like, "Listen, they bring it back. I got you, Jokes. I'll go get these for you." You know what I'm saying? Jokes, hook me up.
Number 3.
Unfortunately, sometimes we got to cover some sad news here. And one of the things we're going to talk about right now, one of those sad things, is the passing of Sam Neill. Now, I don't always take when somebody passes away, an actor or an actress passes away, and like we don't always do like a segment here. We might just kind of mention it, but there is something special about Sam Neill because the level of popularity that Sam Neill has is strangely exponential, specifically because of Jurassic Park. Most people, Sam Neill had been around for a long time before Jurassic Park was a thing. But when Jurassic Park happened, it changed everything. It changed everything. And Jurassic Park was what it did to the landscape of film and computer graphics. It is in a lot of ways responsible for almost everything we get now that we enjoy in terms of movies, from like a pop culture, comic book, action, kind of like from that standpoint. It raised the bar and set a new precedent and created new ways of making film. And like within like the past couple of weeks, like I had just watched some of like the Jurassic Park anniversary stuff. And like listen to them talking about like that first scene where they first see like the Brachiosaurus and they're like pretending to look up and like listening and be like, nah, like I'm gonna run way out here to try to help you understand how big, you know what I mean? And for us as viewers, I remember sitting in the theater and seeing them see the dinosaur for the first time and it feeling like it was real. You know what I mean? And so like we lost Sam Neill. For a lot of people, we lost Dr. Grant. Like that's, you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be able to or couldn't really give you much more than Jurassic Park when they talk about Sam Neill. But I have a favorite Sam Neill movie that isn't Jurassic Park. That Jokes, I put a link in the run of show.
Got it.
We are actually, like, again, we've kind of gone away from looking at trailers. We're going to look at this trailer because it's old.
Yeah.
And we've talked recently about, like, maybe bringing back and doing a Spoiler Boys or, like, a movie club for this movie. I feel like it's a must-watch. So we're gonna take a look at the trailer for Event Horizon.
It's been so long since I've actually seen Event Horizon.
This morning, TDRS picked up an automated navigation beacon broadcasting at 2-minute intervals in Neptune orbit.
Neptune, dog.
This is incredible. It's the Event Horizon. She's come back.
Event Horizon is the culmination of a secret government project to create a spacecraft capable of faster-than-light flight. The ship doesn't really go faster than light. What it does is it creates a dimensional gateway that allows it to jump instantaneously from one point of the universe to another light years away.
Where's she been for the last 7 years, Doctor?
That's what we're here to find out. After 7 years in deep space.
18 people on board this ship when it disappeared. I want them all accounted for. Opening outer door.
It came back, abandoned.
Any crew? Negative. This place is a tomb.
But it didn't come back alone.
This story was like that.
Ship has been beyond the boundaries of our universe.
Oh, there was some people. There was some people in this movie too.
Facts.
And what it's brought back with it.
The ship is reacting to us and the reactions are getting stronger.
What are you telling me? That this ship is alive?
I have such one thing to show you.
Oh my God!
It knows my secrets. It knows my fears.
Vacate. I want off this ship.
I can't leave. She won't. Yeah, she won't. God help us.
Coming soon to VHS.
Bro. Let me tell you something. That movie is so good, bro. Have you ever seen Fire in Zero Gravity? That joint is so good. I highly recommend. However you have to do it. Find that movie if you haven't seen it and watch that movie. So good. Rest in peace, Sam Neill. You'll be missed. 78 years old. 78 years young. How about that? All right, Joe, should we wrap up what happened was?
I think we can wrap up WHHW.
All right, let's consider it wrap. It's time now. All right, Jokes, look. The amount of Spider-Man content that you all are going to see over the next few weeks.
Astronomical.
Just relax. We got to talk about Spider-Man's top 5 villains. These are my top 5 villains, but I don't know if they're arguable. So, they're probably not arguable. So I want to start with this guy right here. I want to make it very clear. I know that most of you, if you are not a comic book person, would see the Kingpin as a Daredevil villain. And he is.
Most certainly, but
however, Spider-Man and Kingpin have some of the best, not just like physical altercations.
mm-hmm.
They have some of the best mental, like their positioning is there's some of the best writing, not just in Spider-Man, but in comics between these two characters. Kingpin is kind of a perfect villain, almost in the same way he is for Daredevil, because it fits the same way. You have a masked vigilante, you have somebody who is clearly, notoriously like a mob boss, and likes to throw his weight around.
Both figuratively and literally.
Yeah, like it's like there's some really, really, really dope battles between the two of them, and I think that unfortunately, Kingpin tends to be overlooked as a Spider-Man villain. Spider-Man has some trash villains. He does. Like Spider-Man has some trash villains. Like I'm not gonna hold you. Craven's trash. Like I just don't. Let me move on. So number 4. This was kind of tough for me. So the Lizard. Here's what I like about the Lizard, and truthfully, this is a standout thing for the majority of Spider-Man, like really good villains are people who he knows. People who know him. Part of what makes the Lizard so threatening is how close Peter is to who the Lizard is in Doc Connors. And while, again, I think that characters, not just characters, but especially villains, can get a really good reset/refresh. I think that works better actually with villains than it tends to do with superheroes.
I can agree with
the
that.
heroes themselves tend to stay kind of at the forefront. You're consistently with them. Their villains kind of come and go. And so when a villain kind of gets a reintroduction, there's almost always an opportunity to kind of level them up a little bit or change things a little bit. And the McFarlane Torment run, which is what this is from, that initial 5 or 6 issue run from the early 90s, it reintroduced the Lizard. Again, these are corny characters. They're old characters that have like the most basic, like Spider-Man's name is corny. Like let's just keep like Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Superman, Wonder Woman. Like they're not like super creative or whatever. Then they say, wait, I walked away and I didn't know we were having Spidey talk. I'm here. Welcome back. So the Lizard is my number 4. I just think it can't be overstated, like what it means to like have to go to class with the person who you also know is the person you need to hunt down and stop. On that note, again, there's a theme here. Green Goblin, also green and purple, just like the Lizard. There's a theme here. The Green Goblin, as a Norman Osborn being Green Goblin, but also more or less being Marvel's flying version of the Joker. He's not quite as maniacal, but he is. Like he's maniacal in like a very Marvel sense, like as like far as Marvel generally is willing to go with things. Again, the threat in being that the twist and the things that make it interesting are either specifically knowing this person, not necessarily knowing who it is right away, but knowing this person. And that closeness makes for really tense, really good reading, really good writing because of the twists that are available when you have a character that is also this sick, if you will. Now let's talk about the corniest character on this list.
Doc Ock.
I mostly detest Doc Ock.
Otto Octavius.
It's one of the corniest, bro. Listen, it's so corny. Look at his pants. Like, for real, like, look at his face. Doc Ock is like he's kind of like he's in shape. Like look at him, like he's in shape.
Yeah.
He's still like misshapen and kind of ugly and kind of like whatever. He's quirky and overlooked and whatever, but also super smart, really well tied into Peter Parker, right? And it makes him a threat. Like he's such a threat because of the knowledge he has around Peter and Spider-Man and who he is. And he's, again, like, this is from the Marvel Masterpiece series. I own these cards. This was like an attempt to try to have these characters look kind of like what they would look like if they were real people.
Okay.
But this is what he looks like in the comics. Like he's, you know, like I think the thing about Doc Ock that I like, and the reason why he sits at number 2 is because of how important he is to the Spider-Man lore, while also being an unassuming threat. There's something so ominous about him, even in just a dude in a lab coat. That, you know, again, arguably some of the best stories. Now, I am positive you can all guess who the number 1 is, but we're gonna do it anyway. I need to make some things very clear. In terms of a Spider-Man villain, this is it. This is King Threat, most diabolical. I want to kill you. I want to eat you. Like, I want to eat your face. Like, we're specifically, this is not like Venom is such a different thing than what it was when this was happening. Venom now, the entity technically that is Venom is more of the individual symbiote than it is this combination Eddie and symbiote. And this version, this very hateful, very angry Eddie Brock, who cannot stand Peter Parker, who knows all of his secrets and his abilities and can completely avoid his spidey sense because the suit was once attached to Peter. This is the threat. Like, that size, that face, those teeth, those claws, those abilities, like this version of Venom, not like current movie Eddie Brock, Venom cracking funnies and whatever, kind of like, that's not my Venom. That is also not someone who I would really consider a viable threat technically for what a Spider-Man Peter Parker is these days, although technically right now Venom is Mary Jane. We're not talking about that. I need to make that clear. This very specific version of Venom, as he was created by Todd McFarlane in the early 90s, this one, the one that you remember from the animated 90s Spider-Man TV show, that Venom.
Yeah.
The one with the blood dripping off his claws right here, that Venom. The one I'm hoping we manage to get in the next 5 years in a Tom Holland film for real, because there's got to be a black suit coming in Secret Wars. It has to happen. It has to happen. So, those are my top 5. Here's the tricky part. Honorable mentions to Carnage. Okay. And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Carnage fan, because for me, Carnage feels like a ripoff, more or less, of Venom, which is kind of what it is. But very difficult to overstate how maniacal Carnage is, and therefore what kind of a threat Carnage is.
Another name, Cletus Cassidy.
That's it. Mephisto is another honorable mention. I'm not gonna get into details there. My third honorable mention, and this is again where we're cheating a little bit. It's the Sinister Six.
Hmm.
And I know that's 6 villains. But I need to make it very clear that Spider-Man, in my opinion, as a character, tends to shine the most and be at his best when he is against odds that are that kind of ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
When he is up against multiple villains, all with their heart set on destroying the person who keeps thwarting their plans to rob whatever bank it was or take over. like, you know, we're talking like a group of in name really corny, like, you know, Electro, Craven, Doc Ock, who was, you know, at the helm. At one point, Hobgoblin.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
they rotated a couple
more than one Sinister Six. Yeah, I mean, these are not like Vulture, like I mean, there's nothing great about Vulture. There wasn't until he became the father of the love interest of Peter Parker in the first Tom Holland Spider-Man in Homecoming. Now, plot twist. Somebody who he knows and is really close. Those are the things. That's the thing about being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is that, like, everybody, he is in some way responsible for the creation of almost every villain he has to fight. They're all somebody who is a parent or related to somebody who he's really close to. It's one of his teachers, it's his professor, it's his mentor, it's whatever. Everybody this kid touches becomes a villain who he has to stop in some way,
including his best friend. Like it's like
it's part of the plight. Like it's part of the plight, and it makes for really, really good stories and really, really good villains. The reason why Venom sits at the top of that list for me is because him and Eddie were never friends.
Nope.
They never, like, he never really liked him. He kind of always hated him. They were work rivals, but they knew each other. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine, Jokes? Like, I would love a what if where instead of Eddie Brock, J. Jonah Jameson got the symbiote. Can you imagine?
Hey,
can you imagine? Like that?
Hey, especially, and listen, if the symbiote had already bonded to Peter and went to J. Jonah Jameson, and he gets that knowledge.
Exactly.
Hey, he just sitting at the desk, and Pete coming. Yeah, I just here's some images and stuff that I have I want to do, and he just sit there like, all these years, you've been walking in here giving me these pictures, and that's you. Come again.
Yep. So angry. It would have been so good.
Have it all out right there in the Daily Bugle.
Sounds like a good what if in the making. All right, that's it for honorable mentions. Look, you put a pin in it podcast. We'll see what we get to. There's a little something special called a Brick Boy. I don't know if you've heard of this. There was a Kickstarter, a very successful Kickstarter for something called a Brick Boy. It is a modification that you can make to the Lego Game Boy that turns it into a working Game Boy. Oh, you want to see it, Joe? Oh, we're gonna talk about it.
Oh man.
It's a super real thing. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. Because they finally started sending out units. Like, they're at the point now where they're sending out units. I almost sent you a video.
Crap. That is a very successful Kickstarter.
A very successful Kickstarter. Over $1 million. A very successful Kickstarter. Yeah. It has the ability to play standard Game Boy. It can play Game Boy Advance. It plays Pocket and Color. It comes with a thing you can run an SD card and run stuff off of it. But yeah, like, so you might need to talk about that and looking at that a little bit. And the other thing we're going to talk about is the relatively new rumors about Black Widow, Yelena, being in the new Spider-Man movie and possibly playing a key role. There are even rumors that at some point she and Peter Parker see each other naked. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about this. Yeah. Can we close it out, Jokes?
I think we can close things down.
Good, man. Look, we had a good show. I want to thank y'all for hanging out, for tuning in with us. Jokes is happening in the world of wrestling.
Latest episode of Finisher is already live now, so you guys can go check that out.
Indeed.
You know, when we get prepared and get things in line, you know, sometimes we do some things that we don't realize until we get also. We just realized, you know, the Finisher actually kind of got off a little bit. Not in a bad way, but kind of in a good way where we got ahead of the game. That we actually released an episode, like, right back to back. So, we're going to take a week off just so we can get back into the right flow of things. Because we had a schedule. We got things planned out. Because August is crazy. And it's not to throw off the tunes of what August already are. So, look for a delay in the week of the Finisher coming out. Just so we can get back on right track.
Back on schedule.
But nothing, it's not going to slow anything down, so make sure you guys check that out.
Yeah, it means you won't get another episode until the 29th.
But you may see a little something get sprinkled in, maybe like a 0.5 half episode or something in line. So be on the lookout for something like that. But otherwise, the full episode, we're gonna push back by a week just to get schedules back in line and keep things on moving.
Sounds good. Look, we have Otakon coming up in a couple of weeks. The 31st through August 2nd. We did just get our press approvals for that, so we're good to go. We'll be there. There may be another special event happening that same weekend. We're going to talk it over and figure some things out. Something that we might have to put out there for y'all so that you can be a part of it. We'll see how that goes. We'll let you know no later than next week. This show next week. But again, stay tuned to our social medias and so forth for an update on that. If there is something going on, we may be doing a meetup of some sort. So we'll let you know. Jokes, can we shut it down?
Shut it down.
All right, cool. Then I'm gonna run it down this time. This is what I need you to do. I want you to live your bloopers and fix it in post. With that, we're out. Tools and Lose.
Loading snacks.